called a lot of them.
Does the Tommy Hearns fight stand out? His fight with Tommy Hearns?
Yeah, are you interviewing me right now, Ray?
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay. All right, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Does Hagler's fight with Tommy Hearns stand out with all the fights that you called with him?
Absolutely, Ray. That fight and the first fight between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier stand out in my memory as two of the greatest fights of all time. I think that Ring Magazine voted that 3 rounds between Hagler and Hearns the most exciting 3 rounds of boxing in the history of the sport. And I was there, and I concur with that. I was going absolutely nuts calling that fight.
There was a lot of action. There was non-stop punching, wasn't it? In the 3 rounds the fight went.
It was absolutely non-stop, and both guys in a peak of physical condition, and they just wailed away at each other. And I mean, it was just attrition who won that fight.
So, did you know Hagler? Did you know him very well as a person outside the ring?
I know him very, very well because he was from Brockton, Massachusetts, and my early days, I had been living in Massachusetts, so I knew the Petronellis very, very well. Everybody in New England know them well, and in his early going, everybody said that they want to avoid him, but years ago, nobody wanted to fight a southpaw, especially when they could fight like Hagler. I mean, Marvin. He was just unbelievably conditioned all the time, and he was a real warrior. And when he changed his name legally to Marvelous, he really was marvelous.
He was. Where does he rate among the all-time greatest middleweight champs in your opinion? With Sugar Ray Robinson, Carlos Monzon. Where would you rate? Where would you rate Marvelous Marvin Hagler?
You got to go with him and certainly Sugar Ray Robinson and Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, they're all right there. They're amongst the very best in the history of boxing, and they're all in the Hall of Fame. So, how do you separate Hall of Famers in different eras? You really can't do it, but they get the recognition of their time. And of course, Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler, the marvelous one, they're in the same era. They have been recognized. Canastota is the greatest of all time. That's what the Hall of Fame is all about, Ray.
Yeah. Now, he was very upset with the decision, that last fight he had with Leonard. Do you think that was justified? Did you see that Hagler's way or Leonard's way?
Hey, Ray, I thought Hagler won the fight. Now, Ray outsmarted him because the Dundee brothers, Chris was in the corner with the stopwatch, and Angelo would yell 15 seconds, and then the same with Ali. How many close rounds that they won because they were smarter than their opponent? They do the shuffle, and the crowd would go nuts, and they throw 2 giant punches, then they have to hit them, and the crowd were absolutely nuts. And a lot of the judges bought right into it as well. I mean, how could you not? When the crowd's going crazy, it's an even round, or even a lot of rounds that Ray Leonard didn't win it. The same with Ali, but they won the rounds because they had the crowd going nuts. And the judges, they're right in the middle of the thing, and they went that way. But that was one of the good things that Angelo did, and in fact, Gene Kilroy was behind that too, who was Muhammad's guy. Gene was very influential in Muhammad doing that at the end of the rounds, and he was getting credit for it because in reality, Gene Kilroy did more than Angelo Dundee. He ran the camp.
So great tactics to do that. The Petronelli brothers, how were they instrumental in Hagler being such a great fighter?
Oh yeah, Goody and Pat were great trainers, and they knew what they had from the get-go, and they handled it perfectly right till the very end. And Goody and Pat were, 2 guys from Brockton, and the other famous fighter from Brockton, of course, was Rocky Marciano. And the fighters came out of Brockton, Massachusetts. It was a real tough area in the greater Boston area, and between Marciano and Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and the Petronelli brothers were very instrumental in the development of boxing, and not so much Marciano, certainly Marvelous Marvin Hagler. They were great trainers at their time. Yeah, they brought them all away.